It's 6:02 on Thursday, May 19th. Call this meeting to order. Audience of citizens, anyone who wishes to speak?
Yeah, I just want
I need your name and
oh,
address.
Rich Liz, 67 Seagreen, Berlin, Connecticut.
Thank you, Rich. Go ahead.
I just wanted to find out where we are as far as outsourcing the maintenance of the golf course. You know, I know there's been a lot of talk about it and what's going on with everything. I have some guys that play from out of town, and they come in and they say, you know, for a public course, the course is not that bad shape. I mean, you know, the fairways usually cut. You know, the complaints they have are the sand traps, of course, and of course the cart paths are in really bad shape, you know. And the biggest complaint is hole number 2, you know, on the rough over there. But overall, they said, you know, the course for a public course, you know, is not that bad. Now, if you're gonna outsource and you're gonna save money from not doing it, is what I understand, right? You're gonna save a couple $100,000 by outsourcing. But will that money come back into the golf course to fix things that need to be fixed?
That's a good question.
Or will it be just going into the town fund and we still have the same problems? Because I think right now, the situation that I understand that Jerry's probably in is, he doesn't have a lot of help to do all the things that need to be done. As far as maintaining the traps every day like some other courses. I mean, you go to, like I was in Portland on Tuesday, played there. I mean, the fairways were not that good in shape, but the traps are all raked, they're full of sand. You know, the greens were just aerated greasing just like everybody else doing. And they weren't that bad of shape either. You know, and when guys come to play here, because I got there's 20 guys that I play with every Tuesday, and they're all from out of town, most of them. A few of them are in town, and then of course I'm in the senior league. And I asked a lot of guys, what do you guys think about the course? You know, well, you know, this is okay, but you know, what about this, what about this, what about that? You know, and you know, so I guess my question is, where are we on that, and what's going to happen to the money if you do save outsourcing? And then the other thing that concerns me is, okay, if you do outsource, and then you don't like what the company's doing, what's your next step? What's your plan? What's your action plan if all of a sudden they go out there and, okay, I know last time I was here, Jerry said they might be using different weed control. They might be using different pesticides. Well, if that happens and all of a sudden all that stuff goes the other way, yeah, you're going to go back at them. But what's going to be the fix if that happens? You're going to bring all the state guys back? Probably not, or the town guys back? Probably not going to be able to because they're going to be laid off. So those are some of the questions that, you know, I hear from people that, you know, about outsourcing the golf, the maintenance.
Who wants to take
That's
on
all I
these
have to say,
questions?
so.
Well,
Anyone
and
take it?
At audience instances, do we do that, or we just take in the information?
We just take in the information. I mean, we can.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I think we can validate you're asking good questions.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
but in some of them, the money goes into the general fund. Doesn't necessarily stay here. And that's the problem that we have with, to be honest with you, our town council. The money should be stayed at the course. We should be saving what we could, replacing those bunkers, putting more money into maintenance,
Carpets.
giving Jerry the help that he may need. I agree, 100%, but it doesn't. It goes into a general fund and we don't have control of it. As far
Well,
as
we don't have control of any money. We're, again, an advisory.
that we are advisors, yeah.
You good?
I'm good, go ahead.
Jim Norton. I got you on mute, Jim. Hold on. There you go.
Okay. You know, Rich, you know, if you, did you read through any of the proposals? Rich, did you read through any of the proposals? Am I unmuted?
No, you're not. Yeah, you're fine. Did you read through any of the proposals?
Just what I saw at the last meeting that was here.
No, the proposals from the Brightview and the other people that bid on this thing. They all submitted proposals because, you know, we all know that the town is not going to supply the amount of resources as far as labor goes to do what's really needs to be done on the course. But if you look through the proposal, and it's not just a savings of funds, it's what they're going to do, and it's not just raking traps. It's filling in divots in the fairway. It's fixing tee boxes that need to be fixed. It's fixing things on the greens that need to be fixed. It's the things that just don't get done. And that's one part of this thing. Plan B, in there, the plan B is if you fire them, well, then there's always recourse, and that's with any contract that you have, and you have to build that into the contract. I've outsourced tens of millions of dollars of contracts in my business, and there's always recourse on there. And the recourse is, you will pay whatever it has to get it back to the shape that it has to get into. That's that's part of the contract process and the procurement process that goes on through the town and through the state. So that's your plan B. Nobody's going to get fired. They may be temporarily, moved or something to that effect. But if you think about it, and you do your homework and look at the courses that they've done and that they've been on, the people that I've talked to, they're very pleased. They're signing them back. They've been there for 10 years. So they want to get their foot in the door here. This is how I look at this, and that's just my view. And I'm sure you can go around the table and everybody's going to have their own view. But they pull out all the stops as far as I'm concerned, because it's a black eye if they don't, and they would never get another contract around here if they don't, right? I mean, that's common sense.
Thank you, Jim.
Can I talk?
Absolutely.
When I first sat down with the town manager and we were discussing the outsourcing before it even got to this point,
Yeah.
I sat down with town manager and finance director, and I said to them, this is an issue that you really need to start at the end and work backwards. And what do you mean? Well, I said, not to be the pessimist, but, and there's always a big but, what if it doesn't work out? Right? You're 3 years, you sign them up for 3 years. They come in, things don't go as planned. Is the town of Berlin willing to invest $1 million, $2 million, $5 million back into that course to bring it back to what it was? Ask yourself that question, because that's what Hartford had to do with Keeney and Gooding. It didn't go well. At the end of the day, it was a $5 or $6 million bill that Hartford had to put back into the courses to get them back. Now, I don't hope to see that happen. None of us do.
Right.
We hope it all goes to plan and it all works out and everything is good. But you gotta look at all possibilities. And then you look at the equipment, the age of the equipment. If they hand you back a pile of crap, and we're starting with older equipment to begin with,
Right.
if they don't maintain it the way we do, and they hand you back a pile of crap at the end of 3 years, again, do you have $2-3 million to go out and buy all new equipment? So that's how I look at it, and I hope it all goes to plan and it all works out. We all do. But what if it doesn't? And that's where I come from with it. Good, bad, or otherwise, we all have our opinions. Good, bad about this one particular company. But that's where I'm coming from with again looking at, and then you've got to look at all the additional. Okay, we're going to spend up to what concerns me are a couple of things, a lot of things, but a couple of big things that stood up for me when you and I were talking on the course. When they came in and gave their spiel to the town, I think somebody asked a question about the chemical program, or what are you going to be doing? They said, don't worry about it. That's their response. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. Okay. Well, chemicals are my second biggest line item in my budget. I know what I buy. I know who I buy it from. I know what the product does. I know that the company backs it up. Should it not work? To just say, if I said to the town, they're going to say, well, where's your chemical budget? Well, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. How do you think that's going to go over? It's not going to go over really well. And I have other concerns, but that's again, that's something that's part of our budget. It's a $120,000, $130,000 line item, and the answer of don't worry about it. It's too big a piece of the puzzle to just say, don't worry about it. Again, that's just me.
I mean, when I saw, just take somebody else, like right now, the fairways, okay? I mean, the fairways are a lot better shape this year than they've been in a while, as far as dig replacement.
Mhm.
So I think
We
you guys
definitely
are
do,
doing a
yeah.
better job
Yeah.
doing that
Yeah.
than what they did maybe last year.
Yeah.
Okay, the tee boxes.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the tee boxes are pretty decent shape, again, they're
Disagree.
deep, so maybe, maybe you guys stepped up a little more this year.
Well, we're doing some things
Yeah.
differently, especially on the tee boxes that we did last year.
Yeah.
And that made a huge difference. We're gonna be doing things in the next week or two in the fairways, which are gonna pay off big time during the summer and into the early fall, culturally speaking. And just everything, greens as well, you know. So it's not something that happens overnight.
Right.
It's something that you've gotta work within your budget and find the money to buy the things that you know are gonna make it better all season long, as opposed to, well, it was really good in the spring, then all went to hell during the summer,
Right.
So.
Jerry, one question, you said that the town of Hartford had to put the money back in there, or did someone else put the money back in the town of Hartford?
City of Hartford put the money back in Keene.
Well, I thought with the company that came in messed up, and then the PGA came in there, or somebody,
PJ just came in to help.
they
And-
helped, but, so you saying to me that the town did it at Keeney and Goodwin?
That's my understanding. I know Keene for a fact, yes. And I think Goody as well.
It was a goodie, actually.
Because,
What's that, was Goody?
It was goodie.
it was Keene.
Cause they had,
It was
they had,
actually-
they had Goody.
IMG had them both. And
Yeah,
and if you
both,
know the
right.
background of what
No,
went
they
on
didn't.
there, if
No,
you truly
they
know the
didn't.
background of what went on there,
Oh, they
let
did.
me just finish and do all the facts.
Okay.
That the guy was going through a divorce, right? And he was pulling out all the money. And, I mean, listen, we all just have to lay the cards on the table. I mean, there's always risk, but that's why you have metrics in place and that's why you have controls in place. And that way you prevent anything from going sideways. And if it does, you know what? You're there in the beginning to pick up the pieces to make sure it doesn't and get it back on track.
Alright, you know what, I'm gonna stop everybody here at this point for the audience of citizens, we're
Yeah,
still in the
that's what
audience of
we're doing.
citizens.
Okay.
Alright.
And I'll explain why you don't see Brightview on the agenda today, and everything else, so if, Rich, is there anything
No,
else?
that's all, thank
Troublemaker.
you very much.
Alright,
Take it home now?
thank you, Rich, much appreciated. Alright, approval of minutes, everybody get a chance to read the book? Need a motion to approve?
I'll make a
Motion to approve.
Okay.
I'll second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye. Did you let her know who's in attendance and who's not?
I was gonna do that.
Oh, sorry. Sorry,
Do a roll
boss.
call. Do a roll call.
There's just two people. Nancy Berger and Joe Polchini are not at the meeting. So if anybody comes in, I will announce it. Alright, old business.
Oh, can I make a motion to add agenda, youth on course update to the agenda?
I second it.
That's on old business.
That's under old business, right?
Discussion?
Yeah, sorry.
All in favor? I was gonna do this in new business, but I'll do it now in new business. There's a grad party donation request that Mark had, given us yesterday, they just submitted it yesterday, or the day before, and, so we need to look at it and vote on that this evening, otherwise it's too late next month. So I make a motion that we add the, grad party donation request to the agenda.
And this is for Berlin High.
Berlin High,
I
yeah.
second it.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So that's that. Okay, so now back to old business. Last month, you guys were all asked to submit comments, your opinions and your comments and everything else, which most of you did. And basically, there's two major things that everyone said. First one was to change the ordinance or work on the ordinance, and the second one was about Brightview. So rather than make it a 3.5 hour meeting, because the audience of citizens, as you saw, was 20 minutes long, so rather than do it all in one night, I decided to break it up. So this month we'll talk about the ordinance piece of it, and then next month we'll talk about right view.
Peter,
Yes,
can I make a comment?
sure can.
All right, in my opinion, I think if I were to prioritize those two items, I think the first thing that we should, focus on is the ordinance. The ordinance has a big effect on the dollar amount and how we go through our budget every year. And I think that's the first thing we should tackle. Second thing, right view.
Okay, and that's
My opinion.
I agree.
All right?
I agree.
that's why
I know what you said.
I only have the ordinance here this month. Because otherwise we'd be spinning our wheels for hours. Okay, so, we'll save that one for last on the old business. Let's do the, Jerry,
The ordinance, we're gonna talk about the end of the meeting?
no, the ordinance, we'll do it in old business, but last in old business.
Okay, thank you.
So, we've got, the youth on course, Jerry, what are we doing with that?
Youth on Course, I spoke with Kevin Delaney, and we both looked at it, and obviously I am a proponent as well as Mark Bayram, and we don't see any issues with it. It's gonna involve, setting up a separate category on the register so we can track it. But other than that, we're not seeing any issues. Hirosh is out of the office, still working from home but not feeling well. So we're gonna run it by him, and from there, we're going to take it to council. You're speaking with Kevin, he said we may not even have to go to council with it, but at the end of the conversation, he's like, you know what, let's just take it to council, that way it's all above board. They can never come back and say, well, you didn't or you should have, and I agree, let's just do it right.
And there's
You
no
know.
reason why
And
they should
there's no
deny it.
reason,
There's no one.
it's actually a benefit to the course. It's
Absolutely.
not a fee waiver. At the end of the day, it's gonna generate more.
So we'll do it, hopefully, first meeting in June, town council, the
I
next
would
town
hope so,
council
yeah,
meeting?
yeah.
I have a question, is there an agreement that has to be signed?
Mhm.
And who signs that agreement?
I would assume it's gonna be either Kevin or Roche.
Town manager.
As far as the fiscal part of it, Kevin doesn't see any problems.
Right, I understand that, I'm just looking for a timeline, so if the council approves it at the first meeting in June, we anticipate it should be in place.
Next day? Once
Oh.
she,
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause we're
So they meet on
running
the
out,
first-
the
the
season
first-
started,
yeah, they meet on the
exactly.
first Tuesday of June. And then they give it their blessing, and Kate says the next day, actions, approved by the town council, you're good to go.
And then Mark can work with them around the parameters that we're talking.
Yep. And whatever finance wants, for their, on their end.
Any questions on that, Mark?
Is he muted?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, my allergies are killing me. That's why I'm at home. But yeah, I don't see, there's no issues. I'd like to get it in place by summer when the kids are out of school would make the most sense. It sounds like the timeline is good for that. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm all for it.
Just so you know, I'm muting everybody's mic because we're getting some weird stuff here, so when you wanna talk, just unmute yourself and talk. Alright. Policy review, does everybody get a chance to look at these three?
Yes.
Okay, can I speak to that?
Yep,
Oh, okay.
absolutely.
So, Roche first, before it even goes to council, Roche takes a look at it and makes his comments, and he has a couple of concerns. Let's just start with the good news. As far as the carp damage is concerned, he doesn't see any issues with that. And that's good. Now we'll talk about the season's pass credit and refund. All requests for credit or refund will be charged a 10% processing fee based on the amount of the credit or refund. Okay, so he said, he wanted to insert based on 10% pricing. Of what, okay, 10% of the amount outstanding. So all requests for credit or refund will be charged a 10% of the outstanding balance, I guess, and the amount of the credit not to exceed, okay. So he just wanted to insert that.
That's fine, it doesn't change anything.
No, it doesn't, it's just,
Well, yeah, it does. It changes, if your season pass is 1,000, then you're gonna get charged 100, but if they want a refund in July,
well, right,
if in July, then it's gonna be less, the 10% is gonna be less.
right,
Oh,
Because it's
But we
prorated.
would have made it the money on the front end by deducting by the number of plays, so it's a
it's,
So it's a prorated refund processing fee.
okay, so that's that. You know, a couple of
And some typos.
Typos.
Now,
but-
just to make a comment on this policy, just so you're aware,
Yeah.
it's already posted on the website.
Mhm.
Just
Mhm.
with an approved council date of 7/20/2020.
Okay.
So that would need to be updated.
Yes,
They probably don't pull policies down from the website. Anyway, it's already on the website
Right.
with the typos.
and then the code of conduct, and this is where he has a few questions. A second bullet, failure to adhere to the rules and etiquette of the game of golf. And his comment was, define rules and etiquette.
The USGA already has. It's
So
in the
maybe we
book.
put in as prescribed or as identified by
By
the
the
USGA,
It's a book.
right? Okay. Unsportsmanlike conduct or unnecessary gamesmanship. Again, these are all defined. Please define for me. What is unsportsmanlike conduct? Is yelling at the group behind you unsportsmanlike? Is slamming the club into the ground unsportsmanlike? He was just looking to get more of a definition as to those two, you know, gamesmanship and unsportsmanlike, so.
Unsportsmanlike conduct or necessary gamesmanship as determined by a layperson or as determined by the director of golf.
I think he's trying to, be more, bring it kind of defined, but
I'm not sure what unnecessary gamesmanship is.
Yeah, I think,
I know what the first one is.
Well,
I don't-
wouldn't that fall under failure to adhere to the rules? and
yeah, I
etiquette
think
of
you could
golf?
actually,
So
if you
can't you
have
take that line totally out?
I think you
I
could.
agree.
I think you could because some of the other things,
Jim, are you unmuting yourself every 2 seconds? I'm getting a weird thing from you.
yeah, I think you could
so why don't we
eliminate that line.
eliminate unsportsmanlike conduct and keep.
Take that whole bullet out.
No, the whole
I am,
line.
I am.
Take the whole bullet
Yeah,
out.
take it out. Because the other things speak to it, like the
Yeah,
improper,
rules and etiquette,
and improper treatment, says improper treatment of.
and even the first ill mannered behavior, club throwing, foul and abuse.
Yeah, that is
That's
unsportsmanlike.
unsportsmanlike.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
so
no.
that's fine,
Okay, so we're taking that out.
yep, agree.
Improper treatment of equipment, what's improper? Slamming a club, throwing a club,
Yeah, smashing,
throwing a club at Jim Green.
Well, you
smashing,
know what?
smashing a club on a golf cart.
Well, I would say
Yeah, yeah.
improper
Yeah,
treatment of town-owned equipment.
Yeah,
Who cares if they want to
Correct.
snap
That's
their
what
club
people-
on their knee?
Yes.
That's good, Pete, I like that.
Improper treatment of town-owned equipment, i.e. golf cart.
T sign,
Yeah,
T signs,
Yeah.
Well,
town
Golf
property.
course.
Yeah.
I mean, that's for slamming on the putting green, on the greens.
Improper treatment of equipment, of town-owned equipment and or golf
Damage
course
to the course,
property, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
property,
or property,
town equipment,
or property.
each cart's property.
If somebody takes a shovel out and digs a hole out there.
Which means you could probably take the next one out, so.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, you could,
That can all come out.
if you add property to the first one, yeah. And you have these in Word, right?
Yep.
You can do that.
Oh, yeah.
So we can misuse alcohol, but not seriously misuse alcohol.
Well, what is misuse of alcohol? Forget serious. What is misuse of alcohol in the course of clubhouse? And he wrote, behavior. Intoxicated?
Yes, I would say, yes.
So how do we make that decision if somebody is on there?
Yeah.
Well, isn't there a rule already posted about alcohol on the course?
There is no alcohol in the course.
There's no, there's,
No,
So
Well,
maybe
not your own alcohol.
not your own, but I mean,
you can have,
Ramsey,
you gotta go
Ramsey
through a
says correct.
concessionaire. So basically, you can't bring a cooler
Right.
out to the course,
Yeah.
alright?
I would say intoxication because you're in the same, you, Jerry, are in the same situation that a bartender. A bartender cannot serve an intoxicated person, they have a liability to shut them off. You, as the director or interim director of golf, have the ability to say, you're intoxicated.
Or does that fall under Ramsey?
Well, both, it depends, if
Well,
they've
he's
got on the
liable.
course,
You're right.
He's liable.
he's liable.
He's liable
He's a
because
permittee,
That's right.
Theoretically, he's the one selling the booze.
Right.
correct, he's a
So
permittee,
he's a
correct.
permittee.
So I would just say intoxication.
Intoxication. Use of illegal drugs.
That could just be put right in the same line with misuse of alcohol or drugs on town property.
but when you say illegal drugs, what, marijuana is legal now, so what are you saying about drugs? What drug are you talking about?
That's legal, Jim.
That's legal.
Yeah.
It's legal.
But you said it's okay,
Heroin, we're talking about heroin.
heroin, okay,
It says
Oh,
heroin, yeah.
Which is
Okay.
No
pot,
coke,
pot's lethal,
no coke, no,
heroin,
heroin.
yeah, illegal
Okay,
drugs.
let me do a little
Illegal.
research into illegal drugs.
Yeah.
We all know what's legal and
and what's
What's
not
not.
legal, right?
let me do a little research into that and I'll make the corrections. I'll just email this out to you guys.
That's fine,
Right.
that's fine,
Because I
whatever.
just wanna get this done.
Yes,
And it's gonna have to go from you back to him.
no, just
Back
do
to
it, just get
council,
it done.
you know.
No, I mean, yeah,
Doesn't have to.
you're right, I mean, what you're saying, you're right, JB, but you're right, because we can't overstep somebody saying, well, you're high on coke and this and that. I mean, you gotta see it being done,
Right, that's why it has,
that's why it's hard to prove
Yeah.
something like that, you know what I'm
it
saying?
has to be done on the spot by Ramsey or someone in
Yeah.
charge,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
it's not us.
Fortunately,
Not gonna-
I could say I've only been involved in maybe 2 or 3 incidents where not drugs, it was just bad behavior. Didn't even involve booze, it was just bad behavior. So-
No, I don't think that's.
It's not- don't-
So Jerry, basically, when we have to post that, like when we have our outings,
What's
with
that?
the outings, like when you're saying about the alcohol part of it, about not having coolers on.
It's
on
already
cars.
posted that you can't have.
Yeah,
heroin.
but you know, I'm so if we saw an outing and someone had coolers there and they were drinking, we could say, you're not supposed to
That's
do it.
not right, because,
We don't-
I'm gonna defer to Mark on this one.
Yeah, we don't
Mark,
defer.
let me ask Mark.
We don't, as council members,
I don't wanna police.
No, I'm not talking about us, I'm talking about if we're
He's
on the
talking about
course,
an hour.
like Jerry's job, he's on the course, or
Right.
if I happen to go out on the course and I see something, can I approach and say you're not supposed to have that? I can't do
I
that.
think you should.
No,
I
you
would have to call
can't,
you.
no, you
I
got
would
to
have to
call
call
me or
you
Mark, you
and-
can call Mark.
Call Mark
Yeah.
Yeah.
and tell them someone's got a cooler out there and they shouldn't have a cooler out there.
Look, I'm gonna,
yeah, I don't,
Yeah.
I'm good with you moving this forward,
Yeah, I just,
Yeah,
little tweaks.
okay? Done?
otherwise he's a happy man.
Alright,
Before we move from policies, you and Mark are gonna let us know what policies you
Yeah,
need.
I don't wanna get ahead of ourselves, I just wanna get this done.
No, I
And
agree, I
once the
agree,
Roche signs off, I know it's pretty much done and I can,
correct, and then you can
we
let,
can move forward, you know,
with the other
with
policies
the
that
other
you,
policy.
good, thank you.
alright, golf course ordinance, that was a biggie on your opinions.
Yep.
Most of you anyway. So. The intention is to go in front of council in a couple of months with our thoughts. And once we do that on a monthly or every other month, I would like to, as a commission, go in front of the council and give them a status of where we are, what we feel we could be doing better, what we think we need, things of that nature. We talked about that. Park and Rec does it all the time. Matter of fact, Donna Bove spoke at the last meeting about the dog park, and she spoke for the Park and Rec in that regard and everything else, so. Out of sight, out of mind, so we don't have any presence right now, really, as a commission on any of the town council meetings. Most of it goes through Jerry. And we're not, we don't represent ourselves, and I'd like to start doing that, and I would like to start, once we go through these next 2 months of discussions. Okay, so Brightview is one, and Ordinance is the other. Now, as far as the ordinance goes, everybody is in favor of making a change to the ordinance. Is that correct?
Yes.
Correct.
So without the ordinance, we would not have the task of having to meet expenses with revenue. So that's obviously the goal. I'll go around one by one, you give me your thoughts on the record. Now we'll be on the record, and regarding the ordinance. Jim, you wanna go first? Jim Norton, wanna go?
I'll go last.
Go last?
Just go around. Yeah, go around.
Okay. Gail, wanna go?
Sure, so I believe what we need to do is go to, an ordinance meeting, which I think they just schedule them ad hoc. I don't think they're on a set, schedule like we did a few years ago. I think it's important that we get the mayor and Arosha's support to go to, and for them to schedule an ordinance meeting, whereby then I think we, present, our points in a very, concise, manner.
Peter, I agree to what you just mentioned, but I think the first step is to go to Kate Wall and ask Kate, what is the appropriate steps in getting an ordinance changed? All right, she would know what the steps are, whether or not, we can request a meeting, or do we have to wait for the council to do it? And I think we can request it, but I'm not positive, and this is why we need to go to Kate to get the appropriate steps.
I agree with you, sir, because like what we're doing, we're just going in a circle.
Yeah, right.
So you gotta go to square one.
So can I speak?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I spoke with Kate to
Yeah.
find out what would be the appropriate
Okay,
steps,
all right.
okay?
Yeah.
Pete, as chairperson, would email Arosh with his requests and concerns and so forth. At that point, they would have a conversation, Arosh and Pete, and from that point forward, Arosh would guide you as to the proper steps to get, because ultimately Arosh would have to put it on the agenda for town council. I can't, okay, so again, Arosh would have to do that. Once he speaks with Pete, they come to an agreement, they're all on the same page, he would at that point schedule you to present to council.
Yeah, but no, we're talking about the ordinance meeting.
Yeah, does it go to, that's where we think we need
It would go to
clarity.
the ordinance meeting
Does
first,
it,
wouldn't it?
because we went to an ordinance meeting that was specifically called for this, for the golf course and the dog park at the time. So I guess I agree with you, Sebby, we need clarity, because we want action on this. And
So do I request an ordinance meeting with Arosh?
You got,
So
everything's
that's the
got to
first
filter,
step.
correct, everything filters through him, so.
Yeah.
And then he'll let you know.
Okay,
And, okay.
hold on,
Well,
Jim, hold on, I'll get to you, Seven. Jim, ordinance, anything?
No, I answered with you, you don't know what he's,
No opinion?
no, I mean, because like I said, we're just going in a circle. You gotta go to square one first and then come out the box.
Okay, Seth, go ahead.
I guess my question to Kate would be, if we get an ordinance meeting and things don't go the way we want it to go, do we have an alternative to bringing this to a town referendum to get an ordinance changed? And this is a question for Kate.
That's for Kate.
That's a question for Kate,
Right.
because, you know, I have a feeling, you know, based on what we've gone through over the years, that I'm not sure this is gonna be a slam dunk for us. And I think we need to understand that, you know, we do have an order, an avenue to bring it to a referendum for the town and let the town make a decision. All right, because I just have a feeling this ain't gonna be easy for us. Because we brought it up a number of times with the town council, the town manager and Kevin, and, you know, they decide what they wanna do. And I think, you know, if we presented it to the town and let the town know, we're the only department in this building, in this town, that has this process, which is wrong. We know it's wrong, but, you know, it's convincing the people that have the power to change it. My thoughts.
Good thoughts.
Jim, Joe?
Yeah, I'll go along with, certainly we have to make the changes to the ordinance that, we shouldn't have to meet budget every year when we base things on what supply and demand is out there. But what I think we should also bring in is, because the Timberland needs so much, Timberland Park, and we're not, and I think we should be bringing up, we have probably the largest selection of demographics who are come to Timberland. Whether it's our young people, whether it's our high school people, whether it's our seniors, they're all coming, our people. So how come we're not getting money that, you know, like the pools are getting, or the football fields, or all the other parks for that matter? We are Timberland Park. We represent a much larger scale of people. So I don't know if it falls in the ordinance, but maybe the money should stay at Timberland and replace the things that we need.
Can I speak? I don't wanna speak for Eroge, but that is the plan, after this year, would be to keep the monies. And he's told council, matter of fact, Tuesday's council meeting, that's where he sees it going, where the monies would come back to Timberland. So, is it in place right now? No. I know that is his goal, when he proposed, and he was just talking, you know, to the council. I didn't see them balk at that whatsoever. I don't wanna speak for anybody,
No, I get
but
it.
they are aware of, at least he laid the groundwork for what his thoughts, what his vision is for the future of Timberland. You know, financially speaking, and where the monies go and where they don't go. So,
It aggravates me that people on our council don't come up to Timberland and see what's truly going on when we have 100 kids a day, you know, doing these junior clinics, or, you know, our high school teams who come and play and they have to practice on facilities that they shouldn't have to, like our driving range, just for an example.
Yeah.
God, we would spend $1 million and replace the practice baseball field or football field before we spent. And I just don't think they realize how many town people use the park. And I stay away from the golf course. It's the park.
the park, yeah. You see it, I see it,
I do.
yeah,
I just don't
All year
understand why they
long.
don't come up.
And that-
all year long.
Jim, that falls into why I believe that we need to be present in front of the council more often to bring this
I can't agree
stuff
more.
like this to light, to show them pictures of a Monday night and how you can't get a parking space. They have no clue.
So,
Or our Friday nights,
Right.
where we have these mixed doubles, and it's mostly our residents.
so how do we get with the council to talk
Audience of
about this?
citizens, audience of citizens, very simple.
And your plan to be on the agenda
Sure.
within an item.
And we have to be there to
Yes.
support who's ever speaking first, whether it's Peter, whether it's Jim,
Jerry, agreed,
Right.
but this
agreed,
commission needs to be there.
agreed.
Jim's gonna speak for us. He said he-
And maybe we need to rotate, you know, cause maybe we can't all go to every meeting, but maybe we take turns and.
I think in the beginning, we make a real effort though.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I mean, I guess once we probably get them going, they'll probably understand. I mean, that's the way I see it. Because
Well-
nothing is being done now.
I've talked to Jerry, I talked to Gail about it, and I talked to Mark yesterday about it. When you're at a municipal golf course other than Timberland, I would like you to take photos of the grounds, the facilities, the practice areas, just take a ton of pictures. Because I think that the council needs to see what we're up against as far as, I don't wanna say competition, but if we're going to always increase our rates along with every other golf course, we gotta give them
Something in
we gotta
return.
give them their money's worth,
Right.
because other courses are giving them money's worth. And this is no reflection on the course itself, because I think our golf course is outstanding, but, the first thing you see is maintenance facility when you're driving up. You see, the building got painted, thank you, that's nice, but
Yeah,
there's still no flowering or anything that we were told that was gonna get
Right.
done. You still have that eyesore of the cart corral area. So, take pictures of the restrooms too, I'm serious, of the locker rooms. We can all help this, we all play golf in other places, right?
Yeah,
So, forget about private courses, just municipal courses, because that's what we wanna compare ourselves against. We're never gonna compare ourselves to Tumble Brooks and the farms and things like that, But, if we could start with that would go a long way in our status meetings, because I would like to put it up on the screen for them to see, instead of just passing out pictures, you know what I mean? And so you start there, but we need to have a bigger presence with the town council going forward.
Yeah, because we're pulling the people in, just like today I was over there, and this guy came and took a lesson with Gino. And before you know it, he took the lesson, he ended up joining the golf course. To show you that we're pulling the people in, the revenue's coming in, but like you said, it's not staying at the golf course.
Well-
And it needs to stay there.
We're the only town-run, I don't wanna say business, but we're the only thing in town that generates
business.
out
The
of town interest.
Right.
There isn't anything else in town that generates out of town interest. So, and so we need to be more present. Jim, go ahead. I'm sorry, ordinance.
Ordinance, well,
Can
people,
you raise your mic level or no?
I
it's
think
kinda
I
hard to
can, give me 1 second. It was
Thank
just too loud for me. All right, so how does that, whoa,
Oh, much better, good.
that's fine. Okay, how's that, better?
Yeah,
Can you-
thanks.
Actually, the first thing you see are the weeds by the Timberland sign. And I'll tell you, this is my wife telling me this. She goes, it's disgusting. So the first thing you see is, you can't, why aren't there flowers there? And we've talked about this time and time again. But kind of, just kind of circling back to the couple things and to what people, need to do is, the town council and the ordinance committee, they all know our views. They just need to make a decision. Let's just call it what it is. And the fact that this is now being recorded, let's just really truly call it, because the ordinance committee is all made up of town council members. So it's not like it's a big mystery. It's just like somebody has to make a decision, and that's all there is to it. Now, how do you force somebody's hand? You get people to show up. And we've talked about this time and time again. So how do we get people to show up? How do we get men's club members? How do we get Lady Niners? How do we get the women's, players to show up on the Saturday morning crew? Listen, they listen to voters. And we can sit here and kick this thing around. Oh yeah, the baseball field's going to get all the money. Well, guess what? They show up, and they show up in force. And if how do you want? And somebody will think twice about what they're going to say if they have a crowd full of people sitting in there. So again, we need to start at that lower level. The senior men's club, get these guys to show up. You're not in bed at 7 o'clock at night, so it doesn't really matter if you think about it. But if you get them there to show up and you show up in force, you know what? People will pay attention, and then they'll think twice about that. And you have to force their hand. I hate to say it, but you have to force their hand. You really do. And, you know, Jerry made a comment, well, you know, next year that, you know, the next fiscal year, we're looking at taking the money and throwing it back in. Truthfully, you know, I'm looking at this, you know, our season passes may be up, but where are our rounds? Just briefly, are our rounds up or down versus last year?
Year to
you know,
date, they're flat, they're flat.
They're flat, right? That means we're losing money because our expenses went up. Are our rounds up this year or down? So you're telling me we're at the same amount of rounds that we are last year? Mark, would you know that roughly off about?
Yeah, I put in my report. We're about 300 rounds less this
All right,
year.
300 rounds times $20 a round, right? Do the math. That's all. It's 300 rounds. What's that? $6 grand, right? I mean, and expenses are up, and that's just, this is early in the season, guys. You know, I mean,
You can't compare apples.
Yeah, Jim, that's not fair though. I mean, with the weather that we've had. So,
but Peter, it is what it is. I mean,
well, it is what it is, but it's not fair. It's not fair to say anything other than, I mean, you know, and the rounds are all over the place every year. So, I mean, I don't know what that has to do with the
I
ordinance.
don't know. I was at Stanley yesterday, and I talked to
Yeah.
Howie, and he said they're just going. You know what? They can't keep up. They can't keep up, but the same token, COVID is coming to an end. Even though the numbers are up now, but people are going to a hybrid method, you know, of work, and we've talked about this before, and it is going to take an effect. It is going to take an effect on Timberland. It's going to take an effect on everybody, as you maybe think about it. But I mean, those are just some of my comments. You know, that, you know, it's like we need people to show up. That's at the end of the day. If you do that, in my belief, I can guarantee you things will change. But if we don't, then, you know, nothing's going to change.
So I have a question for everybody. If we do get the ordinance changed, where we don't have that commitment any longer, is Brightview still on everybody's minds?
Well, let's put it this way. Do we make a change or do we not make a change? Let's see how this would work. We would have to maybe go outside the box. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to take nobody's job, but I just feel that we don't have enough manpower there. It's unionized. I'm a union person, I'm just unionized. So are we gaining anything? Because like every year, they're gonna have to go and write up the contract for the union, we give them a raise. Now that takes the pressure off of us. Because you got a contractor out there, now that's his power. He's gotta pay the people. But as long as that money's coming from the town, that means that the town, we're paying out. So, I mean, that's something to think about.
I think it does change the equation.
Unless they get more help, it doesn't change anything. Unless they get more help and they're going to do what has to be done, nothing changes. Because you have the same people doing the same thing, expecting different results. And that was Jerry's, you know, comment to the town council. You know, what's the definition of insanity? And there it is. I mean, nothing's changed if you think about it. He needs more staff. If they're not going to give him the staff, then you know what? I mean, it's just going to be degrading year after year. And you have to put money back into. You have to put money back into your asset. You have to.
And I agree with you, because you gotta spend money to make money.
Yeah, but I mean,
I don't think there's anybody that's gonna argue the fact that we need a lot of things at that golf course.
you're right. But it's going to get Peter. It's going to get in line. You know what? But in the same. So how can we look at this thing from a business perspective to say, all right, where am I going to get this money from? I mean, truthfully, there's options that are out there, and I'm sure some things are going to be coming down the pike. But in the same token, you know, any profits, you know, the last thing we want to do is go back and go to like a special revenue fund. That's the dumbest thing in the world. But you know what I mean? You know, if we're giving this money back into the town, you know, over the past couple of years, say $250,000, whatever it's going to be, you know what? I mean, you need a couple bones. The place is dilapidated. Let's just call it what it is. Your locker room is disgusting. The bathrooms are disgusting. There's no storage. I mean, it's a joke. It really is. It's a joke. You know, and we just keep going along them every way, and because no one's complaining about it.
Well, you talk about it, I agree with many of your points. But in terms of looking at this as strictly a business, goes against some of our discussions where we are hoping that the town would recognize more than just words, but in dollars, that this is a town amenity and support it in ways like it supports some of the other town amenities, like the pools and the library and the VNA and
Yeah.
other things of that nature. So I think one of our goals should be to hopefully to get more people in agreement of it as a town amenity.
I mean, Gail, let's call it what it is. This is the summer senior center. It is truly the summer senior center, and that's not a knock, but it is.
Well, it's also becoming the after-school program,
Yes.
fortunately, because of all the kids up there and all the great programming that's happening, so
That's our future.
No, you're absolutely correct. But you know how you convey this to the town council. Excuse me, and the only way to do that is to get the people to show up. We have to get people to show up.
oh, and get the ordinance changed.
That and get if enough people show up, the ordinance will change. And that's what we're kind of talking about, the ordinance change. But if enough people show up, then they're going to realize that, you know what? I mean, they're just hearing us. They actually have to hear from other people.
Agreed.
But, you know, Jim, to your point, I never see anything in the Berlin Citizen, I don't see anything in the newspaper about Berlin as a whole. I mean, I had no idea there was what do you call it there, a vote on the budget a month ago. All right, they never publicize things, and that's the problem with this town right now. Nothing's getting publicized. The people in the town of Berlin don't know what's going on.
625 people voted. I was one of them.
I was one of them too, and the only reason I knew about it is I saw a sign when I was walking in the neighborhood. I'm just saying, nothing gets publicized to the town people. And, you know, I don't think reporters ever come to the meetings anymore. Not like the old days.
You know, Jim's right about us bringing in other groups, whether it's, you know, the Lady Niners or the men's club or the seniors. Kind of think we have to go even farther though to, you know, get it into the high schools. There's a lot of kids there.
Point, that's the point, right there.
And there's the mothers and the fathers who went and goes, hey, this baseball field sucks. We need money. Those are the people that
They'll listen to them.
Yeah.
They'll listen to those
They
people.
vote. They vote.
and we have to get a word to them. Exactly, they vote.
Okay. So, plan is we're gonna wait till next month. And when we have our second discussion, and then we're gonna have at that meeting, we'll have a plan. And we'll, get a meeting with the ordinance committee, hopefully. And
Meanwhile, are you gonna email Roche that that's
I
what
am,
I'm looking for?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm gonna let them know well ahead of time that that's what we wanna do. And I'm also gonna let them know that we're gonna wanna start getting on the agenda. Probably at least every other month, if not every month.
Yeah, that's good. Good.
And so, yeah, we'll get them going there. And again, if anybody has anything that they wanna say outside of an agenda item, you always can go to the audience of citizens, okay? So you have that right as a resident, not forget about being the commissioner.
Right.
You have that right. Okay, so, next month we'll talk about the other points. Anything else on the ordinance?
So, just Jerry, one other thing. The last, meeting we had here, about, with your, on number 17, you said you got some money for that wall. Where did the money come from for that wall on 17?
It came out of CIP.
It came out of CIP.
The pad where the bench is, where that bench, the pavers underneath that bench
Yeah,
were donated by the paving company. That's what,
okay, and then,
Really?
so the wall came out of CIP.
Correct.
Yeah, they donated that.
That was nice of them.
To man, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Very nice. And did somebody donate the bench?
This is
And
Nancy.
this is, well, the Nancy
Oh,
Foundation.
it looks good,
It looks great.
very nice,
There's a plaque that's going to be going up.
good,
It looks really nice.
Does.
I think you'll like it when you see it.
good.
Real nice. Real nice.
And the restaurant pad came out of CIP too, right? That was
Correct.
That was all part of it. So,
The restaurant?
The pad underneath the grills.
where the grills are.
Oh, okay, so that came out of CIP money?
Jerry, did they donate it, or did you let them know it would be a great contribution if they'd like to get the rest of the work?
No, it was actually Peter,
Our Peter?
our Peter.
I
mean,
and I would applaud
I-
that if you did, is what I'm saying.
No, because I let him, initially he knew what it was for, and then Peter was, I don't know if you were playing that day or whatever, he went up there and he spoke with them and he really gave him the whole story behind it. And that's when he came to me and he said, yeah, I'm not.
Oh,
I'm
very
not charging
good.
you for that.
Thank you, Peter.
So Jerry, nothing,
I like those guys. They do nice work.
if I
They're
wanted to
very,
donate,
they came out great.
I'm sorry, if I wanted to donate something to improve the golf course.
Yeah.
How would I go about doing that without the town getting pissed off or you workers getting pissed off? I mean,
No, you can donate, whether it's, I shouldn't say, like the benches.
Right.
Okay, they get donated.
Right.
So you take it, you write up an agenda item to council saying that, Jim
The
Green's
lady, yeah.
donating the bench on X, Y, Z, and like the ladies did,
It gets approved and you
and
donate.
they get approved, and they're obviously gonna approve it, they're not gonna disapprove it, it's just another step, but you can donate material things like that.
Donate money too, of course, can't you?
but no, like
I don't wanna
like,
say that. I
like,
don't
let me
wanna-
just be honest, like,
Well, you
Wait,
can, like the
the way
lady.
the way the driving range looks right now, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
No other way to say it, alright, the brown spots up there. So if I say to the guy, okay, I wanna bring a truck in here and I wanna get this all nice and make it nice green, well, they'll allow me to have that done.
I think it's liability issues.
I think
Some-
But what is the
Well, what is it? Whoa.
Jim, can you repeat that?
Probably
Can you repeat that?
you
I didn't hear
can't-
that.
You
You
can't
can't.
subcontract them out, but
Right.
you could tell Jerry that that's what you want done,
Right.
and he'll get you a quote, and then you
Right.
can
You
donate
can
the
the
money
donate
to
the
do
money
that.
towards, so,
Okay,
you get, okay, so it's gonna be a $5,000 bill for the
Right.
pad,
okay,
okay?
Yeah.
Okay, and then I could find the contractor to do it.
I
okay,
can tell you right now that there is a discussion about the men's club donating the mat.
okay,
That's only in discussion phases, along with other things around the golf course too. So, if that would happen, that's $3,000 for the mat itself, just the mat.
good,
Okay, and you need the stone underneath it, and then obviously, you wanna fix that, the pits around it.
right, put some
you know.
flowers and make it look nice. Okay.
So, yes, I mean, I don't think the town would ever refuse a donation, right?
And you can donate, because Lady Niners donate money towards the purchase of, and then it's my job to go out and get the, within their budget.
And then still donates money for the course, and he does with, So, good question. 50K? Yeah, boy, I knew you had it.
You got an extra $5,000 kicking around?
Do all his RMDs and donate his RMDs.
All right, anything else under old business? Jim or Mark, anything that you guys can think of? All right, before we start new business, I'm sorry to do this to you guys, but if anybody emails everybody in the group again, that email will be totally ignored. And unfortunately, Mark, that includes you too. I got kind of read the riot act that can't do multiple emails to the full commission anymore. So it's either gotta go to me, or you can do it to Jim Norton or to Jerry, but it should come through me, it should come to the chairperson, forget about me. All emails should come to the chair and then it gets distributed from there. Okay, is that all right with you guys, please? So then you can't reply all. it's, yeah. So if you guys could adhere to that, I'd appreciate it.
And I know I've done it several times.
Everybody does it.
That's not what I'm talking about. Can I CC Jim as well, or, you know, the assistant? If we're going to bring something to you, it should go to both. Is that a that's
I don't
Will you
think,
get
I don't think that, I don't know, I don't think that's a problem, is it?
No, between
no,
you
it
and Joe.
should,
No.
it should go
You
to,
could
okay,
CC Joe.
I think that's how it should be, right?
Yeah.
Well, both of you should get it. They both should get it.
So,
Planning and zoning?
No.
Yeah, they're across the hall, I think they're done.
No, and then the other council or Doc Mack.
Oh, the meeting.
Yeah, they may. If you follow this all the way down, yeah. Or that's maybe what she is. It's being.
Oh, yeah, I think
I
that's
know.
okay. Okay, so getting that out of the way,
Sorry, sir.
I'd appreciate it, thank you. All right, new business, we have a donation, Timberland, for $325 from the Lady Niners. Jerry, you wanna talk to that, or?
Now, the Lady Niners donated $325 towards the purchase of a tree that I will purchase and plant.
I make a motion to, well, we,
I think you just do one. It's almost like your consent.
okay,
agenda.
so we're gonna,
How about,
Just-
well, you know what?
I got
You gotta take a
discussion
vote.
on
Yeah,
that.
go ahead, no,
You know,
discussion's fine.
I thought we talked about putting trees to the side, that we weren't gonna put any more trees up, of course, because we're taking trees down. I remember we had a discussion about that a while back, that, you know,
it's where
we
we
should
put
do
it.
something other than trees.
It's where, you know,
It's where we put
yeah.
it, so they don't attack our sand traps or any other
Yeah,
part of the
or
golf
car
course.
paths or
Is that
whatever,
what we're
I think it was
trying
the type of tree too.
so the
Yeah.
trees that I purchased for the girls, they're all specimen ornamental trees
where are you
that
gonna
are
go?
small.
Where are you gonna go, Jerry?
I was getting them from the old Elaine's nursery that is now Price Corner Farms.
No, where's it
They're
going on the
wholesale.
course?
I'm sorry.
Where's it going on the course?
Oh, well, that's to be determined, you know, they don't specify, I pick, as you were saying, as Jim was saying, knowing that this tree is gonna get to a mature width and height of. So if I plant it, I don't want it to interfere with the bunker, I don't want it to interfere with plane, I don't want it to interfere with, you know, irrigation or cart path or whatever. You know, as you know,
So is it
As
gonna,
you know.
is it gonna be a tree that's gonna have a lot of leaves that, you know, in the fall
no,
comes down?
like if you look at, for example, and you probably don't even know it, behind 6th Green, after you get past the little dirt road that goes to the dump, and that little triangle, there's an Acer gristle. It's a small maple, it's a small tree, it's an ornamental tree, it doesn't get to be a monster. The tree we put down on 11 does not get to be small, it's a small, and you'll love it when it comes into flower this spring. Same thing with what's up by 9, behind 9 Green, and to the left of number 1T, same thing, same
Say the
thing.
root system is minimal, so it's.
It's far enough away from the beaten path, but it's still that they could see it and enjoy it, you know, the girls can see it. Now, that's not to say you don't want to, you know, Mark and I took a ride a couple days ago, and we were talking about the tree situation, and he had some really, really good ideas. And you could take a bunch down and then just put one, okay, you know, sugar maple, you know, whatever you wanna do, just not a white pine or a pin oak, you know, you could do something nice, and you can get them as large as you want, as long as you got the pocketbook, you can get it. So, again, I don't have to tell you people that there was a lot of PP that took place with Timberland when it was first, you know, they put it in, it was a nice 5-6 foot, we're planting. We're planting, so you had a nice little 5-6 foot white pine that was 3 feet off of a cart path, and then they put 5 of them within a 20-foot square. And now, as was evidenced up by 10, for example, they get to be 100-foot white pine, and they're all within 20 feet of one another, and there's no grass underneath, and there's roots that are heaving the cart path, growing into the irrigation, and harming or hurting culturally the number 10 Green.
The work you did on number 14, behind 14 Green and 15T,
Yes,
those hibiscus, is that?
yep, mhm.
Right, will they affect the cart paths at all?
Oh, no.
That would be a great item to put in, because I've heard a lot of complaints about it. Number 12, where the red tees are and the gold tees are.
Mhm.
Because we took all the trees down in
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
They're saying, boy, it's like, you gotta be very careful for the guys coming in if they're.
Yeah.
That would be something that would be nice in that area there, because.
But there again, you could do a medium-sized deciduous tree there, not an evergreen, not a spruce, not a white pine. You could do a medium-sized deciduous tree there that loses its leaves in the winter, the sun goes through, so you're not worried about, winter damage on number 11 fairway. You would have to keep it back from 11 green, because in the old days, 11 green was probably one of the two worst greens on the course because of those white pine that were to the right. And it was interfering with the irrigation and the cart path. Now 11 is probably one of the best greens on the course. So again, knowing what the mature size is, knowing where to put it, knowing where your water is, knowing what you plan on doing for a cart path, let's just say on 12 someday, you plant accordingly. Yeah. But you can get them big.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know.
Okay, there are, go
Peter,
ahead, Jim, yep, go ahead.
we did talk about this many times, and coming up with a beautification plan, Jerry, you said you were gonna take care of that because there were too many pines out there. We talked about the Lady Niners specifically, because they all wanted to donate a tree, because some of the trees there, I mean, even on number 4, you have plaques that you can't even see because they're so overgrown.
Mhm.
But, you hit the nail on the head. It's looking 30 years down the road. So, we need truthfully a plan going forward of what the vision is. Rather than saying, I think I know where I want to put this one, or no, I like
think,
this
Jim,
one.
I agree with you, and I think what that should be is a hole by hole plan. Honestly.
Okay. And that's fine, because there'll be more donations coming down the road, right? I mean, this is not going to be the last of them. And so, now's the time to say, listen, all right, let's look out 5 years down the road. If I get donations, or what are the next 5 or 10 that I want to donate? If I choose what I want to put in and where and the type, if I get these types of donations, I think that's the right way to do this thing going down the road.
Yeah. And again, I would suggest a hole by hole plan, and prioritize what's there now, what needs to go, and what priority. Is it number 1, is it number 10? When Mark and I rode around, and we all know, number 2, which should be, in my opinion, the prettiest hole on the course, is probably the crappiest hole on the course. For a couple of reasons. It starts on the tee box and it kind of ends on the left-hand side. And like I said, and Mark agrees, and all those trees, for the majority of those trees would need to come out. There's nothing viable in there. There's nothing pretty or good. And then, we want to still maintain the integrity of the dogwood. So Mark and I talked about it and said, you know what, we could take all that, we gotta leave that. And then down the road, if you want to be even more aggressive, but put something in like a sugar maple as one of your larger replants, then that's good. But again, number 2, and I'm just using number 2 as an example. Number 2 is a big project. It's a big project because it's going to involve tree removal. It's going to involve material being brought in. It's going to involve grading. It's going to involve cart pay. If you're going to do it, do it. Just do it and be done with it. And whether you're going to, and don't screw around. But it's probably a $100,000 project. By the time it's all said, between the cart path, tree removal, the grading, the material, the seeding, it's probably going to be a $100,000 bill. But it'll be done.
Can I second the motion on the Lady Niners donation?
Well, no, we'll do,
I'm done.
go ahead.
Do we need a motion?
Yeah, I wanna do that one separately, yeah. So you seconded the motion?
I second the
All right, we
motion.
already had the discussion. All in favor of that donation?
Aye.
Okay, good. All right, I'm gonna take, we have 4 donation requests. I'm gonna take Lewis Mills separately. That is they're out in Burlington, Lewis Mills, right?
Yeah.
They're
Yes,
all-
they are.
yeah,
Burlington?
Yes.
yeah.
So, no real Berlin affiliation.
Not that I can see.
So I make a motion to accept the donation request from Lewis Mills.
No, did not accept.
No, we have to,
No, we have to accept
the
it, and
donation
then we-
request.
Oh,
And then we,
okay. Oh,
and then we,
oh,
and
okay.
then, and
I'm
then
sorry,
we,
I'm
and then
sorry.
we voted down,
Jim
like I
Norton,
voted down.
Jim Norton
Okay.
seconds.
I'll second.
Thank you. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Opposed?
I,
Okay, unanimous, okay. All right, the next three, we had two on the agenda, and I added the all-night graduation party committee request. Mark, are they looking for, we could do a foursome with a cart for that all-night party, yeah?
Yeah, I think they're just looking for our usual donation of 4 rounds of golf with cart.
Okay,
For a
yeah, that's,
For a raffle.
it's for their raffle, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
and their event is June 10th.
Right, so, well, these will have to go to the next council meeting.
Yeah.
All right, so we have three, we have the Berlin High School Band Parents Association, Berlin related, we have the Rotary Club of Kensington, Berlin, which is Berlin related, and the all-night graduation party.
Do them all at once, Peter. Motion to.
Well, that's why I did it. Jim Norton, motion
Motion
to
to accept
accept,
them all.
I second it.
Jim Bujella seconds, discussion on any of them? Hearing none, all in favor?
I,
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Okay, so I put the yeses and the nos on those pages.
Oh, thank you.
May I ask a question on donations? Cause I know you went to town council, last time you were there with some donations.
Yes.
Did they have any comments?
No, usually donations are usually put on the consent agenda, and they just, again, it's just like a.
I understand
Do
that,
they have any comments? Not usually. It's not that they can't comment,
right, well,
but they
I'm
don't
usually.
unless it's out of the,
Well, because as I mentioned to you, several years ago, they wanted an accounting, I know Mark remembers, they wanted,
That's
maybe everybody remembers, of, which ones were approved, which ones denied, and which ones were redeemed.
Right,
So I just want us to make sure that we're keeping the redeemed, because I think every once in a while, they might come back to say, oh, how many of these actually get redeemed, that kind of thing.
So, folks, what I was talking with Kevin Delaney, and we're gonna try, and I don't know if this is possible, I think it is. Every time we accept a donate, or we accept it, or we're gonna give a donation.
Give a
4
donation.
rounds of golf and a couple of cards, okay?
Right,
Value is, it goes to council, it gets put on the agenda.
Right.
That means I gotta drop an agenda item, bring it to council, yada, yada, yada.
right,
So Kevin says, well, maybe we can convince them to, and you can determine the amount, $1,000 for the year.
really,
Okay.
and work on that.
And then the golf commission, knowing it's got 1,000, 1,200, whatever you think is a good number. If the golf commission approves it, it stops right there. I don't have to do an agenda item, I don't bring it to council, you know.
and above the budget, we have to go back to them.
Then if you go above, then yeah.
Makes sense.
And that's, it's not, it's just something we.
Truthfully, with just Berlin related, I mean,
Do we get to
I
it?
don't even think we get to 1,000. Mark, what's a
No.
foursome with a cart?
220.
220.
Oh, we do then.
You'll pass that, Peter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's afternoons,
I just threw a number out there, I'm not saying it's gonna be 1,000, no, it
Yeah.
could be 1,500, I don't care.
Well,
But you
well,
can,
based on what, look at it
you
annually
look
and.
at it and say,
and
okay,
then
I'm
Thank
comfortable.
you.
We're fine with that, we were always told, and as we still are, it has to go to council.
It does, right now it still does.
We should look at some years past. Well, if we could get records, then we'd know what the average is, right? We could average it out and then.
I mean, you've got 3 here.
I have a
Yeah,
list from,
You have the they have a going list. They have a running list, right? And
Right.
you already know what's been redeemed and what hasn't been redeemed. Is it only good for a year, or is it
Well,
like
we have to, do we have to assume that they all get redeemed though?
They don't.
many don't,
I know,
that's what we
I know.
found out.
and that's that has to go into the equation. But or do they expire? Or are they like gift certificates that last forever?
You know what? A lot of courses that have raffles, they have expiration dates on them.
Yeah, they do.
These aren't gift certificates, this is a donation, so that falls under a different purview. So you could say that, you know, that it has to be used by December, you know, by December 31st, or in the year 2022. You know, so that they can't come back next year and use it.
Because to answer your question, Jim, when I draw up the agenda item, I do not, and I haven't been, because it wasn't done in the past, and that's not to say we can't do it in the future, there is no expiration date. And that's not to say we can't, as part of the write-up,
We need
and, you know, and say, expires
I would.
12/31/2022.
to, yeah,
I would.
yeah,
You know.
it needs to.
And I think that's a good idea. Why not, right?
Every other course does it.
Right? So I will include that going forward, an expiration date on these donations. I like that, that's good.
Okay, anything else? Okay. P&L. Anybody wanna speak to that?
Well, it's good to see since the revenue was down that the expenses are down. Not necessarily in, you know, dollar for dollar, but trending at least. And then I just had a follow-up question, Jerry, you were gonna find out where bucket the marketing fee is in from last meeting? Cause when we looked at the budget, there was nothing in that bucket, advertising last year or
You're
this
right.
year? Yeah, and you were gonna find out, ask Kevin.
I know what I put in there, but I apologize, I completely forgot, I did, I'm not gonna make any excuses.
That's fine,
I did,
okay.
so, I mean, I know what we budget,
'Cause there's nothing in the unless
But I
it's in
understand, yeah.
unless it's in another bucket.
okay, no, it's not, advertising is advertising. I will make that a priority, I should have, I'm sorry,
That's okay,
my bad.
next time.
T-sign account, self-explanatory, CIP budget, 21,559,83.
Before we skip T-side account,
Okay,
where do we stand with our fountain issue? This is another thing that we've talked about for a long time and looking for some action and closure.
Well, we know,
Cause you were gonna
We know.
find out how much the cost of the fountain was, right?
I know what the cost of the fountain is, I know what the cost of the electrical is.
Jerry, speaking of electrical, I would like you to talk to Nelson Blancos.
Okay,
He's saying that we can come right off of that pole. And he's an Eversource guy, I mean, so that's why he's involved in polls and all that other stuff. So before we dig up or get quotes on that stuff, I really would like you to talk to him.
so what would they do, put a meter on the pole?
I don't know,
That's not, we do not own that pole.
he knows that,
Like we
no,
do.
he knows which
Okay.
poles we own and which ones we don't.
Okay, alright,
But, you know, cause at our MESCO meeting, and you know what, you're coming to the next MESCO
Yeah,
meeting, right?
yeah.
We'll have that discussion because he says have Jerry talk to me,
okay,
because I told him that, you know, what was it,
10 grand,
10 grand or,
Yeah.
you know, he almost fell out of his chair. Why, you know, so I'm just relaying it, you know, if we can get it done for much cheaper,
that changes them.
and if you don't have to dig up the road, you know, so.
So the clock, I might have missed it because I wasn't here last meeting.
No.
The clock
Did you read the
gone?
minutes?
No, because it was a novel.
No, it's not gone.
The clock is not gone.
Warranties.
But Jerry had brought up another suggestion for a way to commemorate the 50th because the clock and all the work that was involved was a pretty big price tag that we didn't have, and we were reluctant that we would get money from the town to do it. So this is a granite, or I'm not sure it's granite, there's some kind of a
Yeah, it
stone
looks like
fountain
granite, yeah, it's
that's
stone.
about
6
6
feet.
feet. It would go instead of a clock with plaque to acknowledge the sponsors for the 50th. as an alternative. So we talked about it, and Jerry was gonna get more information on it and get more information on the clock and really the work involved in installing a clock.
So what would this be, of course?
Well, we're hoping that with the cooperation of the senior men's to put it where the senior men's,
Oh, on the first tee then.
On the
Right,
first,
Yeah,
on the first
okay,
tee.
yeah, I'm familiar with that.
So the plan would be to redo the retaining wall, put pavers down, and the suggestion, I had the suggestion, we could sell bricks with names, so you can have, memorialize your own, so you can say like the Bugellas or whatever, to offset the cost, and then, maybe, some seating around the fountain would make it really nice, obviously we recognize the senior area there from the seniors.
yeah, that's better.
You remember we had that discussion, don't you?
So will you have water running?
Yes.
Bill
Yeah,
Richard
we'll
knows
have
about it. Bill knows about
About natural gas.
it. Bill, you there, right?
You don't need natural,
It's
what do you need
like
natural
a
gas?
torch.
Huh?
It's like a torch.
There you go.
Or a
That's
teardrop.
torch.
So the 50th, commemorating the 50th anniversary is still up in the air, and we'd like to get some finality on that,
Alright.
so.
Well, if what Pete
Yeah,
says is
Pete
correct,
in here,
Okay, Bill, you remember the discussion of?
yes.
Okay, great. Could you share that with Rich off, when next time you see him? Of what we would like to do and work together on that area?
Yeah, I'll contact him.
Thank you, Bill.
Yep, you're welcome.
Do you think this thing's gonna turn into a urinal at night?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Ooh, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
think it
water.
could, that could easily happen.
I mean, hold on, because Jerry, you actually witnessed somebody urinating in the plants last year. Remember? I mean, you actually brought that up on one of the meetings that we had here. Guys were sitting around drinking, and then on the way to leaving, they were urinating in the pots and plants.
I don't remember that. I must be getting, I don't remember that.
I mean, I'm sure you can go back into the minutes and it's all recorded.
I'm sure it's very feasible that it
I
happened.
know we got one person, but
I mean, that's my
I
concern
think,
about that.
I really don't think that'll be an issue.
We were talking about lighting it too, weren't we?
It was gonna be lit, yeah,
Oh, then you need electricity for that.
exactly.
Oh, so it might not be all that much cheaper.
Once the electricity is there, it's just no problem to throw a couple of floodlights in and
Right.
the plug to run the pump.
But what I'm saying is, I thought one of the reasons of getting a fountain was that we wouldn't have to spend
You're
a
only
huge
spending,
amount of money.
you're only spending 1,300 on the fountain. That's the cost of the fountain, the clock is $10,000.
So you're using that money for the excavation,
Yeah,
whatever.
right.
It may even be cheaper if Dr. Nelson.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you
Yeah.
can pull power off of that pole, and you don't gotta cut and dig.
I'm more interested in getting something done versus which it is. I don't feel strongly either way.
I agree.
I kinda do. I really like the clock. And I think that if we look at the base and how many pavers we could actually sell and what we could sell them for to raise the rest of the money, because we gotta calculate just how many pavers we could actually put in, I think that they'll sell. But,
No question.
You're probably looking at a $25,000 project,
For the clock.
when it's all said and done.
Big number.
so how much do you think would actually come up short?
10 grand, we only have
10
90,
grand.
and
Okay,
we only have
plus.
$9,400.
So could we get in, how many pavers, could we get in 100 pavers with no
Easily.
problem?
Easily.
Yeah, so
But, I mean, Stanley's selling the name on a plaque for, Mark, was it $500 a name?
Yeah, it's 500 for their clock, a plaque that went on the clock.
Yeah, right now, the pavers, there's nothing on them, so are they gonna replace the ones that are there?
Well, that's for the plaque, there's a plaque on the clock in
Right.
Stanley, that's 500. But we could do 100, 150, or 200 for a brick.
you know what, we did this for Veterans Park.
Yes,
So
that's right.
you know what, and it worked out really well, and actually, I think it was, they were really cheap. But if we do nice pavers, even for $250 is very affordable. 500, I think you really start narrowing down the amount of people who'll come in, but I don't think 250, you know, I would cough that up in a heartbeat.
You're there forever.
Yeah.
Look at the Senias, that was what pop.
That's terrible.
Well, we charge 350. That's,
Alright, so you're gonna follow up on that.
I wanna talk to Nelson.
Yeah.
Because that's a huge nut.
Yeah,
That's a huge nut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can even cut that in half, it's a lot of money.
I'm gonna see him tomorrow.
And that will change everything. Now, if you wanna bring the clock back into the discussion.
You good on that? Alright, CIP 21559, Jerry, is any of that spoken for?
Yeah, earth contractors, about 6,000,
For,
drainage on number 11. 11, 12,
where, oh, yeah, near the T's.
Yeah.
What else you got in mind?
right now, we sit tight now.
Okay, so.
I mean, we're gonna have to buy sod for the number 4T, but that's not coming out of CIP. That's coming out of my materials account.
So, no other plans for CIP other than that drainage right now?
As it stands right now. Now, I'll take that back. You got a couple of bad elms on between 15 and 10, which are dangerous, and it's gonna become a safety issue. So I already spoke to Distinctive Tree, who's contractor for the town, and right now they're just booked solid, so he's thinking maybe some not so nice day, he can get a crew over there and take out those elms because they're bad. They're bad. They gotta go. So that would be about a $5,000 bill for those two.
Those trees are so expensive. Are you still on track for number 4T, front T, forward T to be done by the end of May?
I'm hoping. I really don't wanna get into the hot weather,
Yeah.
Yeah, or the sustained hot weather. We gotta move our butts, we got a lot of work. A lot of work.
Alright, Jerry, your report?
Okay, well, as you all know, we just completed the aerification on the greens. Went very well, the weather cooperated this go around. We did overseed a number of greens that were affected by the winter damage. I'm not gonna name them all, but you know which ones. So hopefully, we're getting some warm weather this weekend. Soil temperatures are coming up, grass or the bent will hopefully start to germinate in the next couple of weeks. And the greens should start to improve pretty quickly going forward. That's where we stand with aerification. The drainage work we did on 11-12, that was to alleviate the standing water that was there since I've been there. So hopefully now everything is pitched to that point and will drain out and into the pond, and if not, it's gonna go back down the cart path of 12 and into the woods, so that's a good thing, and we'll hope, get some grass to grow there. We are hot and heavy into our chemical applications. They're time sensitive, you should apply by certain dates. Certain chemicals need to be put down by certain dates in order to be effective, certain ones need to be watered in. So you have to work in concert with Mother Nature, especially in the rough areas that do not get irrigated, and the areas we irrigate, obviously, we can wash it in, but we try and get the best bang for our buck and time it with Mother Nature and apply the chemicals when it's needed that they need to get washed in, so we're moving along with that. Next week will be a big spray week, and hopefully by then we could start to take a little bit of a breath. We are going to be seeding, we just got the seed, trying to seed. We just got the seed last week for the number 10-11 area, as well as what be number 4 when we get to that point. But right now, we're gonna finish up 10-11, where the mounds are. We're gonna need to bring in a little bit more material, because the people are driving around the monument on, say, the 11 monument, the granite monument, and they packed it all down. So we're gonna have to loosen it up, bring in a little bit of material. Won't take much, and then we're gonna seed it and rope it off, and hopefully people keep their carts and push carts and feet away from it. hopefully.
What monument?
Hmm?
What monument on 11?
On number 11, the granite monument, when you look, the cart path is on the left.
Oh,
The T
T-marker, okay, T-marker, thank you.
So they've taken
Got it, yeah, I got
the
it.
carts and they're doing
Yeah, I got it.
amazing, but anyhow. Okay, so down 11-4, we gotta do some work, a lot of work actually on 17. We started, and you will see, especially in the 14, 15, 17 area, the outline of what's going to be the natural grass area there. We can always play with it. Mark and I, again, we took a ride a couple days ago and identified areas. Mark says, hey, yeah, that's good, but it's in play, we need to, scale back, or we could do more. So it was nice to have him out there and giving us his input. And the area we call the Old Orchard, which is the 3, 4, 5 area, we have to do a couple more chemical laps there to get some of the undesirables out. So you'll see in the coming month or two, it may come up a little bit, then it's gonna get mowed down, and it may come up and they get mowed down. So it's all part of the process. It's about a 2 or 3 year process to establish a good area. But again, if you look at the 14, 15, 17 area, you'll see the outline, and you will see the outline in the next couple of weeks in the 3, 4, 5 area. And we're gonna be doing some other areas as well. Like I said, Mark and I talked about it, and a little at a time. And the nice thing is, it is grass. If we don't like it, we'll cut it. And if we want to expand, we'll expand, so it's just a work in progress, that's it. And hopefully by doing this, no, not hopefully, it will save us a lot of labor. And my goal is to really bring everything in. And the areas that aren't in play, that are not being used, why? Why are we out there mowing it? If we can make it look good and bring everything in so that, like I said, when I calculated the labor involved for the mowing that we'd be saving just in those 2 areas, the 3, 4, 5, and 17 area, we're looking at close to 80 man hours. So that's 2 weeks. That's just those 2 areas. And again, you take your resources at that point and they're able to do other things. You take your chemical resources and put them in your rough, in your first couple of passes in the rough, so you get that ability to take and reassign, your manpower as well as your dollars. So that's the goal. That's the goal going forward. And that's the whole reason, and aesthetically as well. I personally like it. Some people may not. If we don't, like I said, it's grass, we'll cut it. Still working with turf products. I gotta do something. Our equipment is older, and I don't foresee us getting any equipment anytime soon. So I'm trying to work a lease agreement with them where every 3 years, there will be a residual, and we just keep turning it over. So every 3, 4 years, it all stays under warranty while we have it. So our expenses as far as repairs are concerned should drop drastically. Something big goes, certainly we're gonna change the fluids and the filters and so forth, but should anything big go, they're on the hook for it. It's under warranty. Come fix it. And we keep up with the latest and greatest. Greens mowers alone are so much more advanced now than they were even 3, 4 years ago. So working on that, and again, we're going to start with the greens mowers and the pieces that are the oldest, which is our greens and T mowers, and we'll work from there. I don't know that I can make this happen. I want to make it happen, but we'll see going forward. Irrigation repair, ongoing. Jim Norton saw me this past Sunday, and we've got over 5 miles of pipe in the ground and over 1,300 heads on that golf course. So it's a full-time job for one person. Or 2 people actually. Do it and do it right. It's a full-time job to make sure everything is in adjustment, everything is clean, everything is up and running. So it's a daily grind, it's a daily chore that we need to address, and obviously we concentrate on the areas that are important, the greens, tees, fairways, and again, it's just a work in progress. It is what it is.
Jerry, can I just mention this to everybody here that, listen, if you're on the course and you see a problem like that, let Jerry know, or let the pro shop know that the water's running,
Yeah, Cause this past, I think, Jim, you texted me, right?
I texted you, that's correct.
Yeah. And that, I mean, Sunday, we out there late morning, early afternoon, I didn't forget the hell
So
time
you
it was.
want that information?
Oh, yes,
Okay,
before something big or bad happens. You know, fortunately, the head that was leaking this past weekend, if it blew up, it wasn't gonna hurt anything, you know, it was in there. But yeah, anything you see while you're playing, call me, text me,
okay.
tell the pro shop, they'll get in touch with me. Cause I can't, no one can be everywhere, and you could be just walking through the rough, and you say, hey, I got a wet spot here, this isn't right.
I was playing last week in number 5 hole, but a sand trap on the left side,
Yep,
sprinklers are just running,
just running, yeah.
just running.
Yeah.
You're just watering this sand trap.
So again, you see anything out of the ordinary. You know, yes, as the weather gets hotter, we will be out there syringing, but you'll see us out there with the radios. If it's Saturday or Sunday, and there's something going wrong late morning, you call me. Or like I said, don't, just call the pro shop, Mark knows how to get, and he'll get in touch with you. And I will be here, before we lose a green or a team. And that's it, like I said, the number 4 tee. Hopefully we're gonna get that done by the end of the month, late May, early June. Cause I really don't wanna get into the heat of the sun this side.
But we won't be able to play on it for a while.
Oh, no, cause that's all gotta knit in and.
Get in, right.
Now, will you be bringing more staff in for the summer?
Yeah, I feel very fortunate. We, something I'm really proud of actually, it's not, I am proud. We employ and we have pretty much Berlin kids. All our kids come from the high school. I don't know how many cycles I've been through with them, I've seen them, you know, be as freshmen and 15 years old, and they've stayed with us through college and sometimes after, you know. This crop of kids that are coming in the next couple of weeks, awesome. I am really impressed with the caliber of the people. I think they're intelligent, they're smart, they're hardworking. I've yet to have a bad experience with a Berlin kid. And I mean that, and I'm really proud of that, because that speaks volumes to them, their parents, their upbringing, and I can't say enough good things about all the kids that have come through that door, I really can't. And you know, they become friends, they're not just co-workers, and we've seen some not nice things happen to them, and we've seen some really good things happen, it's all part of the team, I guess, so. So yes, labor, we're good, I would like to, I did have some lawn signs made up, I'm gonna put them, you know, in areas that I could. I would like to get at least one more seasonal blue collar and a strong seasonal, we have one right now, kid's incredible. He's a quick learner, hard worker, smart, and we were very fortunate to get him. I would like to get one, maybe 2 more if we can, and then we'll be good. But once the kids come in the next couple of weeks, that's when, you know, we start with the bunkers, they get into the bunkers, they start edging, filling, so forth, and that's a huge help. They are able to get out there and work in the beds, you know, they can't spray them, but you can say go out there and edge it, mulch it, you know, whatever, so they can't spray. So I'm very happy with where we stand right now as far as our summer help is concerned. Very happy, good crop of kids, real good crop of kids.
Jerry, can you follow up with Arosha or Steve Woods? Arosha said Steve was gonna come and do some plantings around the clubhouse and
Yep.
stuff.
I think it was just this past week he actually started planting. I think, because we had frost pretty late, it was
Yeah.
cold.
No worries, okay. All right, thank you, Jerry. Mark?
All right. I'll just start out with the play and revenue stats that I put at the top of the report. You'll see that this is through May 16th, so it's recent. Season passes are up. Greens fees down slightly. Card fees pretty much same. Rounds are down 300. So I would say we're pretty much right in line with last year. I know we're up a little bit in revenue, but that's from the passes. So eventually that balances out as people start playing. When the weather gets nice, I think we'll be okay. I think we're going to be right in line with what we were last year. I'm not sure we're going to see another year like 2020. but we're still going to have a very busy year. Witnessed something pretty cool today I haven't seen before. Gino gave a lesson in the rain to a guy who had never been to Timberland, and he bought a season pass after the lesson. So I mean, I don't know what Gino told the guy, but he was obviously very happy with his experience. So I wanted to just give him some props because I don't know what he did, but the guy bought a pass. So we'll be seeing a lot of them. During spring vacation for schools, we hosted 2 separate camps, one for ages 10 and under and the other one for 17 and under. And we had 16 total participants, which is a little bit low. But from what I gather, a lot of people went on vacation because they haven't in a long time. So our programming it continues to be really strong at the course in terms of player development. We have many juniors. Our women in wine clinics are pretty much to capacity every time we host one on Mondays and Wednesdays. It's definitely a really good thing. I'm starting to see a little frustration on the parts of like some of the parents of the kids, because if we have a clinic, then some of the other kids can't practice. We have the women in wine. The kids can't practice. There's only 6 hitting bays, 2 putting greens, and I mean, we use it all. So it's not like they're going to go anywhere else, but I know it was mentioned earlier that maybe we should encourage them to meet with the town council or go to a meeting to just kind of voice what's needed up there. And I think they'd be more than willing to do that. So you guys just let me know if you want me to speak with any of them so they can support the golf course at the town council meetings. So I got a call from our new Golf Now reps because we have a new one. Our existing one, I don't even know what happened, but she's no longer with them. So we have a new one, and he called and he said that the point of sale system we're using will be discontinued after this year. So
There you go.
we're gonna have to figure something out. Obviously, if we stay with Golf Now, we'll have we'll have to use G1, which I don't think we can use. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the town told us we needed a report or something or the finance department said we needed a report that we can't get. So, we're going to have to explore a new point of sale system for next season. There's plenty of them out there, but that's going to need to be a priority, I would think. All the leagues have started their season, and here's another challenge at the course is Monday through Thursday between 3 and 6, you can't get out. I mean, we have leagues on both sides. Absolutely no walk-on play can get out. So, I mean, we are turning people away. There's nothing really we can do about it. I mean, we've got people at the course. It's pre-booked. It's, leagues on both ends. But yeah, it poses a challenge. And again, I don't think there's anything we can do about it. We need the leagues. They definitely are a great source of revenue for the town, but obviously if you have a season pass and you want to play in the afternoons, you can't do it until after 6. And you're only going to play a few holes because there's a million people out there. Just basic things like the website have been updating as needed. The golf shop is definitely fully stocked right now. I'm unsure of the plan for next year, so all credit's going to expire at the end of this season. As soon as I know what the plan is, that may change. We've hosted 3 mixed league events so far, which have been very popular. We're averaging about 32 each time. This year, I did a little something different, and it changed up the format. So we're doing a scramble, alternate shot, and shamble. So that's been pretty well received, and I think that Jimmy Bugello might have mentioned earlier that it's really popular. a lot of people really like the mixed events, and there's no commitment. You don't have to play every one, and you don't have to even play with the same partner every time. So that's been a really good thing for the golf course. But of course, another evening where you can't get out because of organized play. We hosted a pro-am in April, and we had, I think, about 148 players total. It was a very windy day, nasty day. I don't think we would have done much in terms of revenue. Peter, you played, so you know. It was brutal conditions, but we generated over $5,000 for the town for the event. So that's kind of what we're looking for, the organized play that's going to generate the revenue that will be there regardless of the weather. And the feedback was great. We're running our St. Paul clinics again for the school. There's 10 participants. That's every Wednesday. Eventually, it'd be nice to get their tournament. I always try to plant that seed, but I think they've continued at Stanley for a few years. But I'll continue to try and get it over to Timberland because we love to host it. And then, I just always coordinate with Remzi because we have a very busy schedule with organized play. So he's aware of all the outings, leagues, when we have mixed events and whatnot, just so we're all on the same page, and he does a nice job with that. Other than that, just looking. Oh, I did want to mention, I hired, so Brandon coaches a gentleman who's blind. He's about 20 years old. And his mother approached me and asked if we had any work for him that he could do. So I was thinking about it, and there's not much you can do. He would have an aide with him, so I hired him to fill the sand in the carts 2 days a week for a couple hours. He has somebody from the state that helps him, and he's a very nice kid. And I just thought that would be a nice thing to do. And also, we would make sure we have sand in our buckets. So his name is Matt. If you get a chance to meet him, he'll be there Tuesdays and Friday afternoons. And I think that's just a great thing to have him on the team.
It's amazing.
And then going forward, we just have a very busy schedule coming up, especially in June. We have a couple really large tournaments. So I've been in touch with Jerry about the cart situation. June 3rd and June 10th, we host 2 tournaments that are pretty much capacity. So we'll need our carts up and running at that time. And he's aware, so I know he's working on that. So we'll make sure they run smooth. And other than that, let's just hope the weather gets better so we can start making some money. Anybody have anything for me?
I do.
All right.
Your videos that you're doing hole by hole, you're gonna do all 18, I'm assuming. Has anybody seen his videos on YouTube?
No.
Well, he's done 4 holes so far, and he's giving you a pro's perspective on how to play the hole. He's giving you advice on how to play the hole, and he actually plays the hole. And he's got 2 birdies on 4 holes so far.
Oh, cool.
And the camera doesn't leave, so it's, he
How many
shows you
takes?
driving to the green when he's and stuff, so it's,
Oh, great.
they're really fabulous. Mark, those are so good. Congratulations on those.
They've been
Those are
fun.
a lot of fun.
I sneak out when I can to do them just real quick, but no, they've been well received. It's good.
It's a lot of fun, so if you haven't seen it, go look at it, and
Mark, Jerry, just a real quick question. Did we fix the problem, 144 players on these big tournaments, end of story, that's it? How are we handling that?
Yeah, that's it's in the contract I sent to everybody that they know it's really not 144 players, it's 68 carts. So I always tell them, and I know you don't want players to walk, but hey, if they want more players, they can certainly walk and play, and then we wouldn't charge them for that cart because it's, they're not using one.
right, that's a
So
good.
they have that option, but 68 carts was the max we were going because we can't get rentals anymore. It's next to impossible.
Okay.
Hey, Mark, I got a question. They have add-ons to the cart, so you can have a 4-person cart. Have you seen those things? They have a bar that comes out, and you can put 2 more bags on there, right? I'd actually like to walk. even though we have the push cart, whatever, and we all, a lot of us have the electric carts. I'm playing in a tournament. I wouldn't mind just walking, just having my bag on the cart, and that's fine by me.
Yeah,
That's
that's
just another
interesting.
thought.
I mean, that's got to be an attachment, I would think, to the cart. I don't know how much that is, but might be worth exploring. Getting a few of those.
Just a thought. That's all.
Good idea.
Mark, are outings up, down, or flat from last year?
I think we're actually up a couple. We definitely added 2 or 3 new outings of 80 players or more. Off the top of my head, I don't think we lost any.
Okay, just curious, thank you.
I'm talking about big ones that are, more than
Yeah.
80 players. Yeah. We don't really do a lot to begin with, though. I mean, we only do about 10 to 15 shotguns that are over 80 players.
Yeah.
Typically.
And Miami is the biggest one, because that's a double shot.
Right.
I know all the organizations are pretty much up in their members. I mean, the Lady Niners and the men's club are definitely up from years past in membership. And I think a lot of that has to do with just our visibility, through emails and social media and just word of mouth, just in general. People like the environment up at Timberland, so I know that's a big reason they keep coming back.
Okay, anything else? Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Is that it? All right,
I make a motion that we adjourn.
second. Discussion?
None.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Everybody have a great weekend.
Yeah, have a good trip.
friend who works
Hey, so the boys go to Myrtle
on
Beach?
the grounds,
Yeah,
he
he's gonna
just
work.
got a job as an
that's coming up, huh?
So that's.
He's leaving tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.